Hello citizens, Councillor Gian-Carlo Carra here, Ward 9 TV Light. Today we're talking about the Olympics. Yesterday, March 20th, late in the evening, Council, as sort of one of the last big items of a two-day endless Council meeting, discussed the ongoing discussion about an Olympic bid. And a pretty big decision was made yesterday, and that was that we would form a bidco, a company designed to bid for the Olympics, if we had the financial and political support from both other orders of government, the province and the federal government. If we do not get that, then we will not be forming a bidco and the whole thing will be put to rest and it's over. If the other two orders of government do come to the table with financial resources, and the basic idea is that we're planning on spending in the vicinity of $30 million, and it would be 10 million, 10 million, 10 million for each order of government, and we're already in, as the City of Calgary, for over half of that. If we do decide at that point in time to, if the other orders of government come forward, then we will begin a major process that will sort of culminate about a year from now on a bid, and that process will involve a tremendous amount of deep engagement with Calgarians to determine whether this is something we want to do. So the work that we've done up until this point has all been based on an analysis of whether we form a bidco and whether bidding is prudent or not. And what that sort of Olympic bid exploratory committee work did, well, first off, it was an unprecedented piece of work. No city in the history of the Olympic Games has ever formed a committee to explore whether they should bid. They usually decide to bid and then are sort of dealing with it. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to ask two questions. Is it possible, for the City of Calgary to bid? And then is it prudent? Is it feasible? And is it prudent? We determined that it is very feasible. And in fact, the chances of winning, if we decide to actually bid, are very high. And then the question is it prudent? Is this something that's going to be fundamentally good for the City of Calgary? And so where we're at right now is that it's very feasible, and we don't know whether it's prudent, whether it's something we should do. And we're in so far that it would be, at this point in time, ridiculous to step off the ramp. If we don't have support from the other orders of government, game over. But if they do come to the table with that support, then we're going to engage in a major process of engaging citizens. Now, this morning, at the start of our strategic session of council, so we're into day 3 now of what seems like an endless council where we're dealing with some very big issues, Councillor Chu and Councillor Farkas brought forward a request that if we're going to go ahead with this, it has to be informed by a plebiscite of the citizens of Calgary. And, I think there are challenges with plebiscites as mechanisms for engaging citizens. I think that, a yes-no question as a non-binding thing, it's a very expensive way to engage citizens, and you don't get a very nuanced response. And it's very subject to gameability. I think what we're dealing with right now is that there are boosters who would love to hold the games, but they're basically who they are. And then in terms of the political decision makers, there are people who are against holding the games, which I think is a very valid position. And there are people who are like, we have to explore this because, the potential benefits for the City of Calgary are very real, and we have to be very clear whether we can achieve those benefits. And of course, there are issues with the International Olympic Committee, a notoriously corrupt organization that is owning the fact, at least in word, if not in deed yet, that they have big issues with their organization. There's an entire movement called Agenda 2020, which is all about running games that rather than bankrupt the host cities and nations are actually leave lasting legacies. And it's for those reasons that Calgary is such a great candidate for hosting the 2026 games, because we have one of the most significant and meaningful Olympic legacies in the history of the Games. And the reality is one of the other reasons to explore this is that our 30-plus-year-old Olympic venues, which are centers for excellence, I mean, something like 80% of the medal count in Pyeongchang had direct connection to training in Calgary. These 30-year-old facilities need to be redone, and a great way to sort of raise the money to do that and to raise the money to do a number of other things that the City of Calgary needs is potentially something we can achieve through an Olympics. It's also something that could be a very bad adventure, and we're in the process of really exploring that. And part of what we will do, if we do form a bidco, if we do get support from the other orders of government, is that we will deeply engage Calgarians. Now, the question of the referendum itself, we didn't make a decision on that today. We said, we absolutely agree we have to deeply engage Calgarians. Maybe the referendum is part of the solution or the way to engage Calgarians, and we have to explore that further. So in the weeks and months ahead, providing our partners and the other orders of government come forward in the next couple of weeks with support, we will be starting this process. And I look forward to hearing very thoughtful and nuanced positions from all of my constituents. I look forward to discussing it with you. I look forward to engaging in official and unofficial engagement as we discuss whether this is the right thing for Calgary. But at this point in time, it's too soon to tell. And there's a lot of things that we need to answer before we can, say definitively, yes, this is something we should try for, or no, this is a mistake. And so at this point, we will continue to do our due diligence. And if we do form the bidco with the support for the other two orders of government, it's going to be game on for a deep and thoughtful engagement. And I look forward to that if that comes to pass. Thank you so much. Councillor Gian-Carlo Carra signing off.